Welcome to Marvel Vision, a podcast about Marvel, the MCU, and right now, She-Hulk. I'm Alex.
She-Hulk. I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And we are going to be talking about the third episode of She-Hulk, so if you haven't checked it out on Disney+, please go do that. Go watch that. But
Please.
Two things going on this episode. We got an A plot, we got a B plot, we got a little bit of a C plot going on, maybe a D plot, maybe an E plot, who even knows? But the A plot here is that
you had a nice moment where She-Hulk told us that the A and B plot were connected.
And I definitely felt like, wow, they really did come together in a big way, and that joke hit for me square in the
C plot? Oh, okay.
Square the balls. That's right where you want to feel a joke. It's right in the center of your testicles.
Oh, stop, man.
In any case, the A plot here is that She-Hulk is trying to get Emil Blonsky let go from prison for good behavior, despite the fact that he has joined an underground fight club with Wong. We get a little bit of the old Wong coming in here as well to help out. And the B plot is, I don't remember his name in the show. I'm going to say Adrian Chase from Arrow.
You're talking about Dennis and Paul?
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
We got a fan. We got a B-plot guy over here.
Yeah. Adrian Chase from Arrow is helping out Dennis the Jerk, who got tricked by a shape-changing light elf pretending to be Megan Thee Stallion. And
oh, man, what a
took
cameo.
$175,000 of his money. And then both of those things are mostly resolved by the end of the episode, though with promise of more. Now, as we have been going through, I think it's still worth talking about as the show develops and it finds its footing, and we've been on different sides. Pete, I assume you are still loving this?
Stop plugging McDonald's. What are you doing? That's
Every single time I plug
God.
McDonald's on this podcast, I get 5 McDonald's points. And you know, it's like 1,000 McDonald's points to get a single cheeseburger, but I'm close.
A little bit at a time. I don't believe you.
You were heavily invested in Marlboro dollars or whatever. Right?
Oh, yeah. He had a whole drawer full of Marlboro
I was this close
miles.
to getting that Cabell when they took the points away.
Yeah, you went to college on free Dr. Pepper caps, right?
No. You got that wrong. I went to college at Great Flag 6 Adventure based on Coke cans.
Right.
I like you said Great Flags 6 Adventures. It should be that. It should be that.
Very tired. I did not sleep much last night because I was so hyped up to talk about this new episode of She-Hulk.
Let's go. Fired up. Oh, man. There's nothing like just going off on a bit right away and not getting to the show. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. We've been hitting that Wong Bong hard, and we're ready to go.
Oh, man.
But first episode, they mentioned Bing Bong. This episode, they mentioned Wong Wong.
No, they did not. You're just being weird. They said Wong.
Pixar.
And
I don't want to talk about this episode, so I'm just delaying. Take it away,
This
Pete.
is vamping. But the question was to you, Pete, did you like this? Do you continue to like this?
Yes and yes. Check and check. Yep.
What did you enjoy about this episode, Pete? I
right,
can't believe it's pulling teeth to get you to talk about liking something.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop because I'm not buying what you're doing here. But
exactly, you're waiting. You don't want to talk about it because the opposite of pulling teeth is putting teeth back in, and that's what you're like when we have an opinion about something.
Yeah, exactly.
When you go to the dentist, the dentist's like, hey, for a little extra, I can add some teeth.
Yeah, it's like I got a whole accidental shark row of teeth in my mouth because of this dentist putting teeth.
All right, first off, we got Wong. We were teased Wong, and then there was a great Wong cameo. And, Wong doesn't have time for this shit. So that was enjoyable. It was nice to kind of get that moment. Also, She-Hulk was like, listen, this is my show. I know everybody's excited for Wong. And I felt very seen in that moment. So I was like, thank you, but you should be watching The Road. I'm a little worried. And then I wanted more about Paul because he seemed like an interesting fellow. But is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I mean, a gift basket is thoughtful. But it was nice to see him, kind of relax and have a drink afterwards and be stressed and kind of have a nice moment. So I was enjoying that as well. Plus, we got the Megan Thee Stallion cameo, which was hilarious. It's kind of teased, and you think maybe she's going to show up, but then she shows up, and then also we get a song, too. I mean, that was amazing. Soulmates, you're welcome. Yeah, I called it first, even though you guys are like, what are you talking about?
You don't have to mention everything. Hold on. Just to stick on that for a second, yes, you were 100% correct, Pete. We blamed your autocorrect for Soulmates because it sounded like Cellmates. I thought it sounded like Cellmates. It wasn't. It was soulmates. There you go.
And I even made the joke, 7 soulmates. That's a lot of people to be in love with. And that's true. I think this episode proved that to be true. But yes, Pete, you were right about that one aspect. Let me throw out, because I will say my take overall on the show, the jokes they're more jokes, which I appreciate. And this is a comedy. And at least we're getting them in there. I thought some of the Wong stuff I thought was really fun when they are referencing sort of other Marvel things or making sort of that Marvel vibe versus the real world. I think that stuff's working. Like Wong saying, like, I could send him to a mirror dimension. I'm not erasing everyone.
Oh, yeah, that was hilarious. I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to erase everybody's memory again. Hysterical.
Very fun. The moment where she's like, Wong shows up out of the portal and she's like, I have to take this. Like, it's a phone call.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that stuff I think is really working. It's just, it's still tricky with some of the other stuff because of the characterization.
You don't believe the pen pal program could be that strong? Is that what you're saying?
I know, like I'm saying, like some of that stuff I think is working. It's the only stuff the couple things I'll highlight that are still like a little wobbly for me. A lot of the Fleabag, if we can call it the Fleabag stuff, still feels like what? Because Fleabag, she was addressing the audience, but she wasn't talking about the mechanics of plotting a TV show.
Well, she's breaking the fourth wall, and I would say it's more Deadpooling it because it's making fun of itself while it's happening.
There's a line between Deadpool and why Deadpool is doing it versus why she's doing it, which is not, I agree with Justin, is not 100% clear to me. Like, Deadpool is specifically removing himself from the action, and I think you can look clearly at the movies, but also the best runs of the comics. He's doing that because he doesn't want to emotionally connect with people, and that's why he's jumping outside of the book. With She-Hulk, it's not clear why she's doing that. And
excuse me, Dr. Zalbin. I didn't know that. Like,
it's Dr. Pepper. He's Dr. Pepper.
All right.
Yes, legally, you have to call me that after college.
I didn't know that Deadpool was, that was his big only issue. I didn't know that was.
Have you seen the movies starring Ryan Reynolds?
Yes, many times.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, you mean the guy that does Mint Mobile? Ryan Reynolds? Has he done some other stuff?
Welcome to Wrexham?
Yeah, no, he did Mint Mobile. He did Aviation Gin. I'm sure there's a couple of others.
Welcome to Wrexham? I mean, come on, guys. Don't sell him short.
I'm not familiar. I do know his Gin and Mint Mobile, though.
Well, this telecommunications wonderkin sure seems like he's going to make a great show in Hollywood. But let me just say, on your point, Alex, I do think, like, Fleabag is similarly, she's talking to the audience so she doesn't have to be in her life because she feels, this isn't a spoiler, but it's sort of an emotional spoiler for the character. It feels guilty about a lot of decisions that she's made. And to your point as well, like, She-Hulk, it's unclear why she's doing it. It feels like she's just turning to us to be like, get a load of this stuff behind me. And I want to be invested in that stuff. So when she does that, it takes me out of it for a second. And the fact that she's also even going beyond breaking the fourth wall, referencing the fact that this is a TV show in a meta way, like, because my issues with this show in general are because it feels like a TV show rather than like characters doing stuff, which I want it to be like an interesting story.
Well, so let me throw it out there because I think this specifically points to what crystallized for me a little bit in this episode with that joke about the A and B plot coming together, which I know I mentioned before, but they came together in terms of they were both in the same place at the same time. Yes, that's not how an A and B plot come together in a TV show. They crisscross, they provide information to each other. She gets a little bit of information, though it's very vague in terms of how that works, from Adrian Chase from Arrow, in terms of how to solve her problem.
I love that you dropped that reference.
I refuse to remember what his name is because otherwise he's gift basket guy. So you get two choices there.
Or he's where to poop guy. I mean, either way.
Whatever.
That's how I'll always think.
But my point being that, like, I think what that made me realize, and I think structurally, at least, this episode acted like an episode of television versus the previous two episodes, which did not. They functioned as two wobbly halves of the same pilot. It feels like they're trying to reinvent television here from the ground up, as if they had never seen a lawyer show or a superhero show. And I don't understand why they're doing that.
I have an answer for you, I think, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, they're trying to figure out how a format works when they're doing a superhero movie, a legal dramedy, and a hard comedy at the same time. And I think it is that sort of like serving those three masters is hard. Like we're being critical of this show because we love these characters. We love, well, I don't know if I love looking.
I mean, WandaVision messed with a lot of different things. It did it really well. This is a comedy, so it's pushing the boundaries a little bit of trying to figure out what it's doing and where, and
let
where
me take
it
your
settles.
comparison. Let me take your comparison and say what WandaVision did, especially in the first half of the season, was it did one thing. It used a TV format to tell this sort of like fucked up mystery of like what's happening with Wanda and Vision. And then when it sort of shed that and became a superhero show in the last couple episodes, that's when I feel like it felt like a little bit of a betrayal. I mean, I liked the show in general, but it definitely sort of shifted out of what it was. And this show sort of has like a different situation or problem is what I would call it, where it's doing too much at the top, but I think it is moving sort of closer to having a format. Like this episode feels more like a comedy. It feels
like she is a little bit of like the narrator a little bit on her own show where she's like, get a load of this. Oh,
it's just it's not adding anything for me. And maybe this
Jokes?
is humor is particular.
Jokes?
Humor is very particular, so this is no knock on anybody else. I just don't find this that funny yet. Like I've laughed,
I love the Wong stuff
a little bit one time over the course of 3 episodes. So this is
Snicker
just
count.
not hitting what
Snicker count.
Yeah. Every time I mention that,
hey, sometimes there's nothing like a good Snickers. You know,
sometimes
what I
feel like a Snickers, sometimes I don't. Right, Pete?
Yeah, that's right, man. Almond Joy.
So good, I'm sure.
Check it out.
Snickers. In any case, the humor is not working for me here because it feels like it has the structure of jokes, but it's not making me laugh. Maybe it's making other people laugh. That's great. I love it. Yeah. Please laugh. More laughter in the world. It brings light.
Well, stop shitting on. Stop yucking my yum over here, man.
Here's the thing, Pete. I don't need to suckle on Big Marvel's teat. You know what I'm talking about? Like you do. Every morning I wake up going, oh, Kevin Feige, more milk from your nipples.
Hey, man, whatever. I call it like I see it. Sometimes I'm having fun with it. Sometimes I'm not, so I'm sorry.
Did you just rename our podcast? Did you just rename our podcast, Alex?
I think I did. Absolutely.
Oh, my God.
And I don't know, we don't have an editor, but we could just make a note to clip that suckling noise you make, because I'm going to need that for future.
Stop. That is the worst. You are...
Well, Kevin Feige turned to you, Pete. It was like, I have nipples. Can you milk me? And Pete was like, can do.
That's right.
And then he did.
And then I turned my hat backwards and slammed a Mountain Dew. The point is that, I'm sorry that it's not hitting you, but it is doing a lot of great things and it's enjoyable to watch. Also, I think there's nothing wrong with her being a lawyer, dissecting what's happening and giving her 2 cents.
If it was I'd be into it. I don't want to spend too much time going back and forth here because I think we've clearly stated our positions. So instead, why don't we get into the meat of the episode and talk about that? I did have a question, and this is not a David question. This is a legitimate one. Why do people like Wong so much? And I say that because he's more present in the MCU right now than almost any other character.
I think the creators.
Wong doesn't take shit. He's doing a lot. He's has the burden of Sorcerer Supreme. It's exciting time. He's a great actor. He kills everything he does. He's batting every time he shows up, they win. He's the clutch man. I don't know where to stop with you.
I don't know where to stop.
I'm not questioning it. I'm not saying I don't like it. I was legitimately asking because he shows
I think it is a fair question. I think two things come to mind for me. One, we lost Nick Fury, so Wong's is that now sort of the connective tissue, the glue. And I think that secondly, I think the creatives like him, writers like him, because he's deadpan, he's dry, he's in all this crazy world, multiversal situations. He can just look at us and just be like, what, dude? Or just like let's
I don't have time for
the
this
mirror dimension. Yeah. He gives us that sort of straight-faced answer. So he's a natural quick joke device, I feel like. Plus he can pop up literally anywhere because his whole thing is doing that.
Yeah. And also his Kumite joke was hilarious.
Yes, I think that explains it pretty well, just in terms of him being a good foil. And clearly Benedict Wong seems to be up for whatever, so that's nice to see it. It's nice to see him there. What about the Emil Blonsky of it all? Over the course of the episode, we got to see more of this Namaste version of Emil Blonsky.
We're not gonna talk about the Dennis Paul stuff. You're gonna go right to that.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
that's the B plot. A plot first, then B plot. That's how the alphabet works, Pete.
Boo.
Sorry, Pete has an alternate take.
Oh, this isn't funny enough. This is what the order of things.
Pete, why are you mad? It's just his opinion. Yeah, and also the alphabet. Stuff. He is right about the alphabet. You were right about soulmates, and he was right about the alphabet.
Yeah, two very basic things that
everybody gets a win.
Yeah, there we go. All right, Pete, let's talk about the B plot first. Talk about how much you love Dennis. You identify with him. It was the first time you saw yourself on screen. Go.
Nope. But I did love the Bukowski joke. I thought that was hilarious. A fun reveal of Dennis's last name. And it's a fun thing to kind of play with and poke fun at. So I enjoyed that whole bit of it. But yeah, not only was this a hilarious Megan Thee Stallion to kind of lead into a cameo, but I like the elf and like her just kind of tricking people and kind of like living her best life a little bit. And I tell you what, I don't care who you are, VW Passat is a hell of a gift. And I understand.
Justin?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, in a show where I'm always, I feel like the paralegal and Paul are characters that are big recurring characters, have like a fair amount of to do in the show, and they're truly like blank slates. Like the only thing we know about Paul is he knows where the good bathroom is. Mm-hmm. The paralegal seems to say jokes, but truly has no other qualities, characteristics.
All right. Dude, he saved the day. Like he put it all together to bring her
100%. Like I agree with you. Like that character does stuff in the plot, but I would ask you, outside of gift basket and bathroom place, what is a quality he has? What is a thing about him?
He is. He gets stressed out and has drinks at the end, so you know that he's human. And like, oh man, this
I would argue he doesn't seem stressed. He just goes to the bar. So, but I'm not trying to like get you with a gotcha. I'm trying to yuck your yum because I know you're like yum Paul. But I do think that I would just like to have met him. I would like we talked about the Ally McBeal. If the
Wait
Ally
for
McBeal,
it's coming. You know what I mean? We're getting a little at Paul at a time.
This is what I'm getting towards. I don't want to harp because I don't think this is fun for podcast listeners if I'm going back to the same well over and over again. But I do feel like, again, why are they reinventing the wheel with how a lawyer show works? Like, is Jen kind of like secretly in love with him and somebody else has a crush on him? That's fine, but like you don't need to take 4 to 5 episodes to set this shit up.
Well, and
we're
also,
on 3.
Let me say,
we're on 3.
Let
I
me
don't
just
know where you're
say,
talking about 4 to 5.
Okay, we don't need to take 3 episodes. We need 1 episode. You get a pilot. That is what a fucking pilot is for. This is not a TV show. Stop. Get that teat out of your mouth, Pete.
I think you've just seen too many TV shows. You know what I mean? Like
I've seen some TV shows. Apparently, the people who made She-Hulk have seen 0 TV shows.
Yeah, I would argue seeing more shows is helpful when it comes to watching TV.
Particularly if you're going to do a meta TV show that's commenting on other TV shows. Like, don't. Sorry.
Let me say to your point, Pete, like you're saying like it's coming. And I agree with you. It does feel like we'll slowly get pieces of information.
Yes, I agree as well. I want to say
drops.
on that note, I agree as well. It's coming.
We'll get little drip drops from the teat as it's going on. But I would like when I meet someone for the first time, I don't like to get caught up in their legal drama. I like to be introduced to them first, then
I think it's even more than that. It's
that.
like if you were meeting somebody the first time, and like first and foremost, thing you need to know about me is I'm a human being. Here's how human beings work. We got heads. That's one thing about us. And then you meet them the second time, they're like, let me tell you about my job. I work at a construction site. That's wood and nails and hammers. And then the third time they're like, all right, let's bring these 2 things together and see how they work. Being a human working at a construction site doesn't seem like it can work, but maybe it will. And then maybe by like the 6th or 7th time you meet them, you're like, Jesus Christ, you're the craziest person I've ever met in my life. Yeah. None of this makes any sense. Figure your shit out quicker.
What are you mad at? Like, I don't understand why you're mad at the fact that we don't have enough time to give Paul a backstory.
Marvel to a higher standard. Stop being like, well, here, the slop they feed us in a bucket is more than enough. I'm happy with it. If we say anything bad about it or expect them to put out a TV show that's an actual TV show, that's it for Marvel. No more Marvel anymore. That's not going to happen. We're stuck with Marvel for our entire lives. So at least, like, if you're going to make TV shows that have actual episodes.
I'm sorry that you don't feel that this is episode, but I'm having a great time.
I'm totally glad about that.
What?
This is what I feel. It doesn't
I just don't like
you feel.
what I just don't understand that, like, because you think it should follow a certain format or not be able to make certain jokes.
Here's the thing. What I'm saying is, if you break it down to the basic elements of what She-Hulk is, in the same week that She-Hulk debuted, I saw a better episode of A Lawyer Show, I saw a better comedy that broke the fourth wall, and I saw two shows that were both franchise extenders that were way better and did a job of telling a different story. So I expect something that is going to be interesting to me, and so far this is not interesting to me.
How is it not interesting that you got to hang out with Wong for a little bit? You know, Megan Thee Stallion showed up, gave you a little music. Like, I don't understand. Like, there's some fun shit that you wouldn't expect to have happen.
Guys,
listen. Many turns. There's a magical shape-shifting elf in A Lawyer Show.
Also,
what
not
the
that
fuck,
funny,
man?
Not that funny.
Here's
not
the thing,
that
guys.
Funny.
Could have been funnier.
Guys. Just take 1 second. Yes. You guys have different. I don't know if this is not clear. You guys have different opinions.
Whoa.
But like, it's like someone being like, if I gave you both Swedish fish and you guys were like, I like them, they're salty, and Pete was like, I hate them, they're salty, it'd be like, yeah, that's all you have to say. You don't need to keep saying stuff that you like and also don't like. But let me try to breaking it down a little bit. And I love, because rarely do you two both have opposite strong opinions to an equal degree. And this is going to be a fun season, or I'm going to die very soon.
Did you like the Bukowski joke? Did you get it?
Yeah, I think so. And honestly,
did I get it?
I definitely got it. Let me say,
I don't
Dennis as a character has the most sort of, we know who he is. And even though he's like not like someone we're like, cool, more of him hanging out, he, I think, is one of the more fleshed out characters. I feel like I could be like, I know a person in my life like that. I know what he's going to say in the situation, because, and this may be a reason why it's A, not working for you, Alex, but B, not willing to delve into Paul yet, is because it feels like everything is driven by sort of the comedic intent. Like Dennis, they fleshed out because they wanted to tell Dennis jokes. Paul, no jokes necessary. He's just there. Elf, we learn a little bit about the elf, because it's like, we don't do jokes where the elf shape shifts. Like, let's do that. Or like the paralegal, she just stands there and says jokes. We don't need to know anything about her, because her jokes aren't about her. Her jokes are about She-Hulk. So it does feel like they're writing this show, or the show's being created around a core of comedy that is directed at Jen. Which I think is cool, but I wish they took the time to put stuff on the table for us and then let the comedy happen like a true ensemble, like we're talking about shows like Ally McBeal or really any ensemble comedy.
Well, and one other thing that I'll throw out there, just that I've been thinking about a lot with the show, because in case it isn't clear, I want to like the show and I want the show to succeed, and I'm going to stick with it in the entire season, is on two opposite ends of the spectrum. We keep bringing up Ally McBeal, which had a crazy strong pilot, and it was very confident right off of the bat and knew what it was, laid out the emotional groundwork, the jokes, the humor, everything. Not all comedies are like that. The other one that I was thinking about in particular that I think is an example that people bring up a lot is Parks and Recreation, which the first season of that show is not good. Like, it's not funny, and it took them a while, 6 episodes in fact, to really figure out how to hit that show correctly and how to get the humor out. That happens with a lot of comedies, that like they're figuring shit out, they're figuring out everybody's bits and how they work together in the first season, and it isn't until a couple of episodes in that they really get rolling. So my hope here is that, Pete, you will continue to like the show over the course of the season, but I'm hoping that a couple of episodes in, when they figure out these kinks and they figure out everybody's character bits, that I am going to get on board as well. And I think they will. I feel confident.
And Pete, what if you grow to not like it? What are the, you know?
Oh my God.
I don't know what sort of situation, perhaps some sort of screamy discussions about it on a weekly basis could drive Pete to hit the show.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he switches to solid foods off of the Marvel milk.
Anyways, the Thor's speech is not submissible in court was hysterical bit. I mean, that was just fun. Would you agree with that, Zelvin? Would you agree with that?
No,
I'm submitting this.
I didn't find anything funny in this episode. You're going to keep trying, and I didn't.
I thought that was pretty funny. She tried to give Thor's speech.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I love the line from Dennis. Well, I give you a whole list of my boys to talk to. That's a funny line.
Yeah.
How about She-Hulk being like, I will kill for you, and Megan Thee Stallion being like, dial it back a bit. That was funny.
Wow. Yes.
Wow.
In the post-credit, that's the post-credit. I think the
CGI
post-credit
was very weird in that scene, and it was edited too quickly, but I really like the idea of it.
Right. I think the post-credit sequences have been really good so far, and like sort of nice little vignettes that have all of the elements we need for the rest of the show. They just need to grow out. We didn't talk about the fact that she takes on the Wrecking Crew at the end of the episode, the famously always beat up villains in the Marvel comic universe.
I will say, and in a more like Marvel fashion, I felt conflicted about that scene because when they came in, I was like, is this the Wrecking Crew? Are they going to do the Wrecking Crew here? And then they pulled out their Asgardian weapons, and I was like, oh shit, it's the Wrecking Crew. Because I kind of love the Wrecking Crew as characters in Marvel, and it constantly bums me out that the main way that they're used is exactly how they're used here, which is they're usually at the beginning of an issue getting beaten up by the Avengers, and they're like, well, got rid of the Wrecking Crew. Who's the main villain of this issue?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to them. So I was like, oh man, this is true to the comics, but it's bumming me out.
Well, I would argue, though, that I feel like they may be a runner throughout the season. It feels like we got enough of them where we're going to see them again. And the line, did you rob an Asgardian construction worker? And they're like, yeah, that's what we did.
That was hysterical.
Was funny. And
also,
the moment of her screaming and then hulking out, I thought was cool too.
That's exactly
her moment where she was like, oh no, oh wait, that was
well, and we also on the theorizing bit get a tease here that they're working for somebody. They say some variation.
The boss is going to be
boss is going to be disappointed. So who's their boss, do you think? Who's your speculation on that?
I would think the lawyer, the head of the law firm that she works for.
Kingpin.
I'm going to throw out the leader. No. Tim Blake Nelson coming back as the leader, potentially. I think.
Wow.
That would be fun, particularly because they seem to be after her blood, right? Like, I don't know why the head of the law firm would need her blood, but I could see why the leader could need it for its healing properties.
The healing properties that were established in because Bruce drank her blood in episode 1 randomly.
Dude, when you get in a car accident,
Bruce's blood
it's like a tumbler
into her arm, and then he drank her blood, and now the leader wants to slurp on her blood, sucking it right out of the teat. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh my god,
that's not what comes out of there, Alex. So, you know.
I don't know, man.
All right,
bite hard enough.
All right, Cornell, you want to go to the A plot now or what?
Oh, after half an hour? Sure.
Yeah. No, I think we've covered. Oh, you're talking the Emil Blonsky stuff?
Yeah.
It was, you know what?
Seven soulmates, and
I did like when we have this thing of She-Hulk took her shoes off before she transformed in the first episode, and then Emil does the same thing here. I thought that was sort of a cool little moment, little rhyming moment there.
Great.
And the montage of character witnesses was fun. The whole thing just, I felt like I was waiting for the other shoe to drop with Emil Blonsky in a weird way, and him transforming and scaring everyone. I was like, they're that scared?
Why were they so scared of him?
Because they've seen him. They know it. That's his whole thing.
And he doesn't do anything. He just transforms.
It's also in a very
cage.
Yeah, he's in a cage. That
it was a weird beat.
It was a weird beat. So that felt a little just wonky in general. But I just like that we're sort of moving toward case of the week, like I said last time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I kept waiting for just because nothing seemed to really add up. Like everybody thought like he was the greatest. He has 7 soulmates who seem to do anything for him. So that seems all so sketchy. I'm wondering once he gets to his island, what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. It does seem like, just based on promos and stuff, that is a character that is going to come back later on in the season.
I mean, you got Tim Roth. Why not? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tim Roth, hopefully Tim Blake Nelson. Get all the Tims. Tim Heidecker, maybe he'll
Tim
show up.
Hortons.
Oh, come on, man. Donuts.
donuts.
Before we move on, any other moments from the episode that you want to call out in particular? Or did we cover them all? Covered every
I think
single
we
one.
said every joke that was in the show, so I think we're covered on that.
We're good.
Yeah.
Did I mention that I'm not enjoying it so far? I don't know if I touched
Oh
it.
my God.
Now that you say that, I'm sorry. Now some of your
I
comments.
can't believe you hate Megan Thee Stallion. I mean,
I
that's
don't
crazy.
hate Megan Thee Stallion.
I
appreciated
that was a fun
they brought
cameo.
her in.
Yeah, the fact that she's willing to do that is pretty awesome.
Yeah, the whole thing was fun. To see her in the courtroom, I was like, ooh,
yeah, with the
great
fan
cameo.
and everything. Yeah, it was so great.
Wow, I can't believe Megan Thee Stallion deigned to show up on a little old Marvel show.
Yeah. Well,
whatever. She's busy. She's got a whole other career. You don't have to do everything. You know what I mean? It was nice that she did.
And
what the fuck, man?
I was going to move us over to the vision board portion because I have some thoughts that I want to talk about there that maybe we can. No, yeah, I guess
somebody's got to help us because
this sort of crossfire vibe means I'm on the outside.
Oh, there you go. Let's move it over to the vision board then. Justin, what's on your vision board for the next episode?
Well, we end this episode with her seeing herself reflected in the car window, and it feels like there's this. She in the first two episodes, she figured out how to be a Hulk very quickly, and there was some stuff that I thought was said a lot by Bruce. Like, you don't have another personality in there. You don't have the other guy, the thing that is haunting you. And I think I said, I bet that's going to happen by episode 5 or 6 or whatever. And seeing her look at herself, see her reflection, it feels like there's that sort of what's in there. And I really hope that's true, because I think that'll give the show a nice arc for her, because it does feel like she's just sort of bouncing around right now. And the idea of a Hulk having the Hulk problems later, and being the good Hulk first and then having to figure out the bad part, is a nice flip of what the whole Hulk burden has been for the Hulk himself.
What about you, Pete? What's on your vision board?
Well, first off, I just wanted to say, wow, it sounds amazing, and I second that. That would be a lot of fun and very cool choice. And I'm glad you took that away from the mirror shot, because I looked at it and I was like, what's going on? So, thank you for helping me out with that. But I'm looking forward to who's the next villain we're going to see. Is it going to be the Porcupine? Is it going to be Stilt Man? Is it going to, you know what I mean? What kind of fun we're going to have?
Could be anybody. It
could be anybody, and I'm excited about it, because that's the fun part about this lawyer show, is the fact that we're getting this kind of it's a great way to see, villains you don't really get to spend some time with. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, without riling up Pete again, I do think now that we've gotten all the setup out of the way and they've figured out how the show works, I'm really looking forward to maybe next episode. It's going to be off to the races, everything going from there. But on a more specific bet, now that we've talked about it, I would love to see the Wrecking Crew again. I think that would be great.
Yes.
I'd love to see the leader. That does feel like while they're doing this reclamation project from the Incredible Hulk movie, bring him in as well. That was like a dangling plot line. It would be super fun to see him again. So I don't know if it'll be a next episode, but it should be good stuff. And if you would like to support this podcast, patreon.com/comicbookclub. Also, we do a live show every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. to Crowdcast and YouTube. Come hang out. We would love to chat with you about She-Hulk. Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or the app of your choice to subscribe, listen, and follow the show at Marvel Vision Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. comicbookclublive.com for this podcast and many more. Until next time, stay marvelous.
Yeah, Paul. Oh, that's gross, man.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving that.